Hello again, the mangled plum face again. Yeah, I was gonna do a different video today, but a thought crossed my mind. This is something like I did want to get off my chest, but well, now's the right time anyway. Today I wanted to talk about video games. Now, this is not like a form of criticism, a forenote, right? I myself, years back, was a very avid video gamer. And this was before, internet and anything like that. Like, since the age of 9, when I got a Sega Mega Drive, I was completely hooked on video games. And me, as an autistic individual, I was a loner. Video games were like my only outlet at the time. So it started off with things like Sonic the Hedgehog and Streets of Rage, Robocop vs. the Terminator. It was all just on the Sega Mega Drive. But I had friends and neighbours who had like the PlayStation 1, which was more engaging, and they had more games you could collect. And I was like very envious. Like, as a 9-year-old back then, I just wanted all that. I just wanted my own PlayStation. When I went to Thailand for like 2 months back at that age, I got hooked on Mega Man X4. Now, anyone who had that game right, they could expect me to be just sat there playing Mega Man, going through all the 8 stages, totally hooked on it, and I wouldn't sleep. And yes, it was like very concerning for my for my mother. I didn't get my first PS1 until I was 11, and I didn't have that many games. Like, I was just playing a demo, and I still had Sega Mega Drive. But the first real game I got was Dino Crisis 2. Back in them days, you had them game magazines, and you'd see clips from it and all that. And me, I'm a dinosaur fanatic. I really want this game, and it was a 15er. One time, right, my mum was out shopping. They had them places called Woolworths. I was stood in there for like an hour at the aisle just looking at Dino Crisis 2. Mum arrives and she's like, I want that. And she's saying like, £30, it's a 15. Well, she got me it anyway. And boy, it kept my loudmouth shut for like a good few weeks. I really loved that game. Now, I hadn't even played the first Dino Crisis. And it was like a while before I actually got to play it, but no, Dino Crisis 2, I just ripped through it in less than a week as an 11-year-old. I guess the dinosaur loving part of me just fueled me through that. No, I love that, and it still sticks with me to this day. When I went to high school, I had my PlayStation 1 stolen. But it didn't take my Dino Crisis 2 game. That was in the days when the PS2 came out. And I got a PS2 for my 12th birthday. But I didn't have the memory card, so I was playing Dino Crisis from start to finish, no saving. And that's when I moved on to other titles like Resident Evil. Now, I'm an avid Resident Evil fan. To me, right, if you can pin a game to high school, to me, it's Resident Evil. For other people, it's something else. I understand that. But for me, as a teenager, it's been Resident Evil. And not just for the gameplay. Because, at the age, you're you're experimenting, the world's opening to you. I've noticed one thing, right, video games seem to have superior storylines to films these days. Because you've got more people invested in the plot line, whereas films are stolen from other films or books, and then you get them crappy video game adaptations.
You do what you have to do. I'm staying.
Of course, when you're a teenager, like, especially if you're an all boys school and video games is your only, like, you know, outlet, naturally you are going to become, you know, engaged with like the content. These video games I played have some there's some rich plot lines. There's some awesome characters, and sometimes like the female characters, they're incredibly likable, and you get like a video game crush. Oh man, wish I could meet like, you know, someone like her in real life. Like she was just like, you know, got me through high school. Yeah, video game women, they're not like real women. Now, in Japan, right, there's this common practice of young men who are preferring virtual women over actual women, and it's a growing trend in the West. Like, I don't feel good, like, you know, saying that, you know, this, but it has to be acknowledged. Yeah, I was one of them guys. I preferred the plot line of the story in the game to actual reality. Yeah, I was totally absorbed as a teenager. I was waiting for the next game rather than the, you know, next steps of, you know, what comes next in reality like this. I dropped out of high school. I won't go into full details with that, but like video games were my only outlet. But back then, the amount of games I owned and purchased were like very limited. So I was like waiting like, you know, year gaps between each. Most people would play like, you know, football games or sport related, and they would have titles released a couple times a year. But me, it was only certain titles like Resident Evil and Project Zero, better known as Fatal Frame. I'm a Japanophile, I like Japanese culture, but Fatal Frame, they were incredibly scary games, and I started playing them at 13. And yeah, I did get spooked, but at the same time I was like really captivated by, you know, how ingenious these games were. Like the sound and everything, it just opens your mind to a different level. Like, most of the people in high school, they would only play like things like Call of Duty, you know, combat oriented games. Me, I preferred horror oriented. Yeah, I would play the fighting games like Dead or Alive, but it wasn't the fighting that I wanted to, like, you know, engage with. It was the characters. You got really awesome characters, and you've got some of those beautiful female characters ever. I had a crush on Hitamai for like a very long time. Well, let's look at it this way. I don't play video games anymore, and it's not because I don't like them or have like moved on. Now, for the past 15 years, right, I've been moving on to different things. Now, people who play video games are immersed into this world. They follow the plot line of what the creator has put out to them. And they buy the product, they go step by step through the plot line to see how the plot unravels. I did the same thing. But at the same time, right, now, I don't mean any offence here to anyone who's an avid video gamer, right? I do apologise, you know, on front here. Back then, I was at the mercy of what the creator had available. And I was looking forward to the next. And like, I would get disappointed by decisions like, you know, being made by the creator. While being immersed in this world, a very well-made, you know, world. But I asked myself, why can't I create my own world? awesome characters, sound, and all that. Some of the most gorgeous women ever produced, on my own terms. I got into writing when I was 16, and once I got into that, I created my own world on my own terms. Yeah, I did play video games. This was before the internet, so like, video games were like a nice little like break from all the writing. It's not like I could save YouTube clips. But no, once I started writing, I practically ditched the video games. Now, I'm not saying, right, if you are an avid video gamer and have like, found something else that keeps you like enthusiastic, don't ditch it, okay? Keep it up. Even to this day, right, I'm 31. I don't play video games. I like the stories. I like to watch playthroughs. Hell, I even played them with my own mates. And it's amazing. I love it. It's not the same as it used to be, like, back when I was a teenager, but man, I love it. It's healthy to do things like that. Now, don't confuse this between, like, a healthy custom and an unhealthy one. Now, I've had my days, like, I was nagging my mother for, like, an Xbox 360 15 years ago. I got one of the first ones that arrived into Leeds, but back then they had plenty of problems. I was hyped up for Resident Evil 5 when I got that red ring of doom. That was a real waste of money. I, paid like £700 for it, for something that wouldn't work in the end. And they didn't have enough, like, Japanese games, and I only seem to play Japanese games. Capcom and Team Ninja and Team Silent. I love the Silent Hill games. I love the music. You're immersed in the world, okay? I get it. You need a break from the hardships of work life. But me, I create my own world. But I do like to visit the source of inspiration for the worlds I create. Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Fatal Frame, and the Dead or Alive games, like pretty much everything I can write, they all come from video games. I like to go back and revisit them. Whenever I hear another Resident Evil games come out, I go to my mate and he says, "Oh, I've got the new Resident Evil game," and I play it. I play it with him. It's brilliant. Parents should not just mock their children. They should not smash their laptop or smash their console. Just let them get into it. Let it pass. Okay? You get some good things from video games, but also you do get some very bad inspiration from video games. A certain percentage of the population, right? Like the Call of Duty, has them doing bad things. Not to say I'm criticizing the developers for that, except for that that one segment of the game where you get to play as a terrorist and you get to kill innocent people. Now, I do have problems with that. Don't be too dependent on video games. I politely request that. You don't have to listen to this idiot, okay? But we all go through phases. Some people I know, they're older guys, they're still playing video games. Okay, fair enough. I'm just saying that when I played them as a child, they inspired me. They inspired me more than films and what actual people actually could do. Had my moments. And I do want to get back into some gaming at some point. But video games have inspired me. They've inspired my writing. They put me on a new trajectory in life. So this is not a diss. There is some positivity. Major positivity. Some healthy one that came out of it. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Have a nice day, and in these ridiculous times, right, enjoying any good games that come out, because I'm looking at, like, playthroughs. Like, I'm all eager. They give me ideas, and they will give some of you ideas about the next stage in life. Take care.